A treasure chest of rest, part 2.
Part 2.
Recharging ourselves as often as we recharge our cell phones is so important, and it benefits us immensely.
Take the time to avoid the negative effects of chronic burnout and stress. We need to take time to replenish and return to a present state of functioning and peace.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Linnetta.
And I'm Patrick.
And together we are co-founders of
Verticalconnections Inc.
Thank you for joining us, and be sure to share this message and click the like button, and please subscribe.
Yes, and we always are grateful when you share some of your comments, and so we look forward to adding some of those in the near future. We talked about the recovery process and that it requires us to switch off that work mode and making ourselves have time when you are neither engaging or thinking about your work activities.
Yes, so if you have not watched part 1, please be sure to go back so that you can be more engaged and aware of what we're talking about here as we do a little reflection and work on into part 2.
Yes.
It's important to have a treasure chest of rest resources, definitely, that you can go to when you begin to feel that, exhausted or running low on your present energy is just not there.
Right. So just to do a really short recap of the first one, we talked about taking time away. It helps by switching off that work mode sensation in your brain. It helps you to be able to just disengage and go ahead and allow that to remain behind when you actually go and take time away.
Another thing was, it's okay to say no. Yes, give yourself permission to not be helpful. You no need to be selfish about it or rude, just honest.
It comes down to just valuing your own time. So it's okay to go ahead and do that. Number 3 would be a connection to the arts or nature.
Explore your inner creativity.
Yes.
Through some drawing or painting or just doodling, or the joy can be in just the therapeutic. Is that what they call it? Therapeutic. Like getting into the dirt, getting into nature, planting some things.
I know people who just enjoy taking a pot or a plant that's in a pot and just transferring it to another pot because they enjoy that sensation of having the dirt within their fingers. I know it's not for everybody, but for some people it is great joy, and it is just a calming sensation.
Yes, and that pleasure of knowing that because you've given those roots some more space, it's going to allow you just to enjoy and the growth of it.
Yes. So that brings us to the second half of our treasure chest for rest. And the first one is just to have solitude to recharge. Solitude is something we all need to varying degrees. Some people need more alone time than others do, and that's okay.
Having alone time allows you to drop all the burdens that we carry and to simply unwind. The responsibility and the social expectations can be draining.
Here are some of the most common signs that you need to go ahead and have a little alone time.
Those small things that all of a sudden become a big irritation, and normally you would just blow them off, but now it's on.
Leaving that toilet seat up can be a big deal.
Breathing heavily when normally they're just breathing, but all of a sudden it seems to be so loud.
Oh my goodness, yes. And then, of course, what happens is then you're going to go and inspect, why are you breathing so heavily? And
the person's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, so that's one great indicator. Another thing is to be tired or fatigued even after you've had a good night's rest.
And you know you didn't get up to go to the restroom, so you slept all through the night, but yet when you wake up, your energy is like, oh my goodness, I can just continue to sleep. Usually that's because you've had so many dreams. They have different levels of sleep, and you're not in the real one that will cause you to actually engage in that good rest.
If you ever have those moments where you feel completely overwhelmed and unable to just focus on one thing. Now, I know that for some people that comes more often than not, but still, when you get to a point where it is extremely difficult to complete your projects or complete whatever the task is that you are having,
It's time.
it might even be the fact that you don't remember what the task was that you were doing.
It's time.
Take that moment of solitude and recharge yourself. Another one that we learned about, we've read about, was, we're just going to spell it first. You spell it R-E-S-P-I-T-E. And when you look at that, we were talking in our conversation, and I said, oh, well, respite. Of course, I know what that is.
And I said respite.
And all of a sudden we're going, is that the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Does it mean the same thing? Well, I know that it means to take a break from certain situations that are really important. It's almost a responsibility.
Something that's difficult or unpleasant even.
Yes. And so we were using the same word, and yet we were unsure of what the definition or meaning was. So as we got into it, we started thinking, okay, we know that a lot of families experience respite, where they don't have that opportunity to take a small break during that time of a lot of conflict, or maybe there's a lot going on in the family.
Obligations that need to be met.
Yes, and they just need to take a step back and relax for a moment, recharge, because what happens is then everyone starts to get upset with one another, and it magnifies the situation rather than remedies the situation.
Yes. You have to take control and take time and not allow all the atmosphere that's already up here. You have to bring that down. You have to take charge.
And as parents, I know that when we are taking a break from responsibility, we know that it's not something that can last a long time, that break. We have to continue to make sure that we address it and acknowledge it so that it gets handled in the right manner. But maybe instead of trying to do it all at one time, trying to just say, I'm going to brush this off until tomorrow. Attack it in the way that you're going to take a small 5-minute break, walk away, knowing that it's still there, but do something that you enjoy, as we were talking about earlier.
Take out time and sing. Sometimes just singing or humming a melody can be so refreshing. Something good, a song that's going to invigorate you and cause you to have what they call happy feelings and respond positively.
So then you want to get to the next point of, after you've looked at that and you've considered the consequences of putting it off too long, and understood that, okay, I need to make sure that I put this into different increments that are much smaller, but I can still replenish my energy. It comes down to being stillness and to decompress. Now, when we talk about stillness and decompress, it doesn't mean staying in one spot for a long period of time.
Oh.
Pretending you're a mannequin probably isn't the best way to deal with stress. Likewise, you've got to take time to decompress. Sometimes that comes by yourself, or it comes with a trusted friend or colleague. Go ahead, have that conversation with that trusted individual. Go ahead, I know that another word for that would be to vent, and maybe it's nice that if you do have that individual that you can go to, warn them first.
Yes. Do I have permission to be honest? I need to share some things. I just need to get it all out. Sometimes you can, some things you don't need to tell other people. You just need to go to your pillow and just talk to it. Just get it all out there, because other people, sometimes we don't need to hear negative things, because some people take things to a different, where they don't need to be taken to, and all you needed was a listening ear. So be very proactive on doing that when you're talking to other people.
And I know for me, I've got some really good friends that I can talk to, and if I come up to them and I just say, I just need a moment of your time, if you could, please. I need to talk to you as a brother in Christ. I need to talk to you as just a friend. And when I say that I need to vent, that doesn't mean that it's a two-way dialogue. I mean, I really just need to let it out, and I really didn't come over to listen to what was going on with you. Now, if you have a situation that you want to talk about, let's schedule a time. But for me, I'd sure love to have this opportunity to just
Open and honest.
spill it all right now without having to try and decipher a lot of other things as well.
Yes. So being still, that's actually a gift.
Yes.
But yet, like lots of gifts, you want to like open it. You're like, yes. But for some reason, the gift of stillness is something that people avoid.
And I think we often worry about what is the perception of others. We are always so worried about what others think. We can't do that. We need to know that we're okay with what we're doing, and someone else's opinion doesn't really matter at this time. And even that might have been what got you to this position, but reflect and regroup and re-energize.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a long time on is one thing when it comes to married couples or parents, two people who are maybe parenting at the same time, but what about that person who is a single parent?
Yes, children are crying, dinner needs to be made, stops need to be
Coordinated?
Yes. And people are calling you to take them to the hospital or pick up from the airport. Just a lot of things on your plate.
And when you're a single parent, that makes it all that much more taxing. But I think we need to realize that when we are thinking of being a single parent, we have to look at the analogy of when you're going on a flight. We know that when you get in your seat, they always make sure that you put your seat forward, you fasten your seat belt, and then they say in case of emergency, there's going to be an oxygen mask that drops down from the ceiling. The next set of directions are so important because it's not make sure you go if you're with someone who you are attending to or that needs assistance, take care of them. That's not the case. The case is put your air mask on first. Make sure that it fits snugly and tightly and correctly. So that way then you have what you need to be able to help those around you. And I think that's so important for just today's world and life as we speak. As single parents, you need to make sure that you put your oxygen mask on first. If you want to be a better parent, you're going to make sure that you have what you need so that you can then take care of those that need you.
Yes, and reach out to those people who said, if you need anything, just call me, just call me. Don't allow your pride and your, I can do it, I want to prove something, pride. Don't allow that to take over. Pick up the phone and schedule some help. Get some help. It's okay. We need each other. For those of you who think this is an island for you and you alone, it's lonely, isn't it?
And it's difficult. So we just pray that all of this information is something that you can glean, you can borrow from, you can actually, it just was an aha moment where, you know what, if I try this, I might be able to recharge myself and be able to do something else later on.
Yes.
Because we always enjoy serving, and we know that that's important in our life, but we have to be in the right frame of mind to do so. So until next time,
get connected to
go vertical.
Yes.
Bye-bye.